Hey everyone, it's Katie. I'm back finally. I feel like it's been forever since I posted a video, but life has just been hectic and I think everyone's just feeling it right now. So I have been making these really fun ledger pocket specimen window frames. I don't even know what to call them, but I was just kind of messing around the other day and I made a bunch of these and I thought that I would hop on and show you guys how I made them. So I just took some ledger paper that I have in my shop. It worked perfectly for this. It's really like long and skinny. So that was kind of my inspiration for this, but you could really use any type of paper. It's just kind of like the method of how I'm doing it. And I honestly really love the look of the ledger just because you can see it throughout the whole piece. And I just made a bunch of different versions of this. So with that being said, let me just get into it and kind of show you guys what I was thinking. I'll just have a few out here for inspiration. So these are really long pages, so I can make 2 out of them. So depending on what size paper you have, you might be able to just make 1. Like if it's a regular 8.5 by 11, you probably just make 1 or 2 really small ones. And then also depending on what size you want it to be, this one's more thin, this one's a little bit more wide. That's going to determine how you cut or rip your paper. So I kind of like somewhere in between these 2 sizes. So I'm just going to take off a little bit of the side of this paper here. So probably about 1 inch. And I like that kind of rough edge, so that's why I'm ripping it, but you could just cut it or do whatever you feel looks the best. So let me just set this aside. And out of here I can get 2, like I said, but I'm just gonna take off this extra piece at the top and I'm gonna use this for another project. If you want, you can leave that there, so when you fold it up it'll kind of be like a focal piece, but just for the size and everything, I'm just taking that off. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to fold in our sides to make the edges of the frame. And it's probably about 1/4 of an inch. If you like the look of it being a little bit thicker side of the frame, then definitely do that. But you know, it just depends on what you want and how big of a focal piece in the center you want to have. So I'm gonna fold in my edges, and I'm not being super particular with measurements because I just never like to be. I like kind of just like a rustic look. So now I'm going to fold this in half, and then I'm going to get my 2 halves out of here. And I guess you could do that in a different order, but it just saves you from having to fold these edges, these sides twice. I don't know, I just thought that would be easier that way. So I'm going to get rid of this one and we'll do that one later, and then this is what you're going to be left with. So here's an example. So for your pocket on the front, it's kind of like a little hidden pocket that holds ephemera in it. If you want your text to be upright facing like this, then you want to flip this upside down like that. And if you don't care, then, and you want it to just be however it is and have it folded up like that, you could just do that too. So I like the text to be facing that way, so I'm going to flip it over. And then depending on how thick you want your pocket to be, that's up to you too. That's why I like this project, because you can make all different sizes and different. So just kind of doing my best to make it as even as possible on both sides like this. And then you're going to flip it over and then fold down that little top flap piece. So if you want to make this the same size, or if you want to make it the same size as your sides, then do that too. I like that it has kind of like a ripped edge that's not super perfect. I don't know, I like things that look more, like I said, rustic like that. So now you're left with this. what we're going to do is take these edges out again. And you want these to be facing inward when you fold your flaps. So this is going to go inward. And then now you're going to be left with this so that your pocket folds up and then the top flap folds down. Now, if you want squared off edges, you can leave them like this, but I like mine to be rounded, like these right here are rounded. So I'm going to just take my corner rounder and then snip these off really quick. Okay, so there we go, like that. Okay, so this is the part where you kind of get to take it how you want it to be. If you want to put pressed flowers or leaves, I had like a couple extra left over from my yard, so I just took those, and then I started running out of those. I made 2 like that. I ran out of those, and then I just went with whatever I had, and I thought that it was kind of like a fun way to use up my clusters that I was making, and like made those as centerpieces. So I'll show you some more examples. Here's one like that, and then so it's kind of like a specimen frame, but it's more like an art frame kind of, if you want it to be that. So you really could just put whatever you want. There's that one. I don't know if you can see that. And then, so this is the center part is where your focal point is going to be. So here's one of my clusters that I have. Just want to make sure that when if you want the whole piece to be shown when the flap is up, then make sure that it's like small enough or whatever to fit in the frame. If you don't care and you want it to see like when it's open, then you could do that too. So however you want to do it. Also, I wanted to mention that if you want to ink your edges, you would want to do that at this point, because it's going to be hard to get in there later on. So I would just ink these inside edges first. But I mean, this could be super simple and you don't even have to mess with inking the edges and just kind of leave it be. Especially with this ledger paper I have, the edges are already kind of like distressed and different colors with different patinas, so you could just leave it and it would probably look really great. But I like to ink everything, so okay, so I just did that really quick, and then I'm going to figure out what I want my center focal piece to be. So let's see if this will fit. Okay, that might fit. This is another cluster that I did. That could fit too. It's kind of big and busy, so we might just do this one. Okay, so let's do that one. And I'm just going to take a little bit of glue and get all these edges. Oh, my glue is backed up. Okay. So I'm not going like crazy heavy, I'm just enough to get all these sides so that it sticks down. And then let me pull this up just to make sure. Sorry, my hand's kind of blocking. Okay. So there's that. There's my focal piece. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your piece of transparency and cut this down to size. So this, honestly, I just like eyeball it. And then make sure this isn't too wide to close. And then also make sure that it's not too long so that you can unfold and fold this. Okay, so that's perfect. So another interesting like point is the first one that I made is, let's find it. Okay, here we go. Is this it? Okay, so this is the first one that I made. And I didn't secure anything except for this right here. I put a little brad in the front just to kind of attach it, because I was like messing around with, okay, how am I gonna keep the flap closed? And again, it's like that little pocket with some hidden ephemera in here. But I didn't glue anything down. I just attached everything with these 2 hole punches. I put a couple of reinforcements there, and then the twine. And I had like a little piece of paper hanging down just to kind of give it like, I don't know, like a notebook look to it. And I don't know, the more that I'm making these, I kind of like that it's not glued down and everything's just kind of like popping up a little bit, because it just looks like someone threw this together to put in their journal to keep all of their ephemera and keepsakes and everything. So you don't have to glue this piece of transparency down if you don't want to. It makes it easier. It makes it less messy. Honestly, I would probably not do that just because you don't have to. And then, you know, if you wanted to even not glue it and then leave this open and slip something else like underneath here later on and like put like a bigger, you know what I mean? Like another focal point or another piece of paper or piece of ephemera, that also gives you the option to do that too if you don't glue it down. So, yeah, it's just a very like flexible, it's just a very flexible project in my opinion. So I'm going to leave this here like this without gluing it just because I like that. But anyways, back to what I'm rambling. Back to my point is right now you would glue the edges down to secure the transparency, and then you would want to glue these side flaps, and only to the end of where the flap is. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to leave this here, and then I'm going to find a piece of paper to hang over the front. So like you can see with some of my other ones, this one, I made sure that the piece of paper was long enough to fit over the top and then wrap around to the bottom. So there's like the look of that. And with this one, I did the same thing, but this is, I love this one, honestly, the look of the emboss vellum. So I did the same thing and wrapped it around. So that's that look. It's still, I didn't glue it completely down. I just glued the top and the bottom so that you could still open this. And even what I like about this too is this also becomes a pocket back here. Because I didn't glue down the back, you could put stuff back here if this doesn't, there we go. So you could put stuff back here too, which is kind of cool. So that's another pocket, depending on what you turn this into. So for this one, I will probably just, let's go easy. Like let's say you have some scrap, like I have this scrap paper right here. So we're just gonna rip this. And then I'm gonna size this to how big or how wide this is. So that's almost perfect, but I kind of want it to be a little bit thinner. So let's just rip off some excess here. Not trying to be perfect. And then I like there to be some kind of rough edging on the top when we fold it down. So I'm just going to do that. And then this will fold over from the top. And then you want to kind of fold. See, that's like a little bit too long probably. So I will shorten this. And then do something like that. And have that folded down. Maybe fix this corner here. So this will be glued down. And then this will just kind of hang. Oops, that's crooked. I'm glad I looked back there. Okay, there we go. So like I said, that'll be folded down. And then this will be on the back, like a little scrap piece of paper. Okay, so let's attach this first. Let me make sure this is, okay, perfect. So just put a little bit of glue up here. Get that down. And you don't even have to glue this, but I'm just gluing this because it kind of ripped up there, so I didn't want it to rip anymore. Okay. So there's that with the back paper. And now is when you can just take a hole punch and put some brads there, or like I did, just get some twine and secure it that way. Okay, there's that. Now I'm just gonna take my twine and eyeball that, just kind of snip it off. Okay, so to tie this, you're just gonna put it through the back so that both ends are coming out each side. It's hard to do this in frame. I'm sorry if it's getting cut off. Okay, there. So now we have both ends, and then you just tie this in the front with like a little bow. But I like I was saying earlier, I like this style because number one, it looks good and it gives interest to it, but then it also makes it so that it's removable and you can take out pieces or remove pieces later on. So there's that. Okay, so there's that. And then for the bottom, this was fun actually. I was going through all of my like Tim Holtz and different like pieces of ephemera and just finding stuff to tuck in here. And I glued some pieces down. Some pieces I just have paper clipped on. Let me see if I can find an example. Like this one, I just paper clipped the little piece of ephemera on. And it's just, you know, it's up to you on like how you want to decorate it. This one I put a little frame. I don't have very many of these left, so I only used a couple, but yeah, I put a little frame on this one, and you could put like a little sign here and just different fun little things. But it's fun to like color coordinate. I had some greens in here, and I used a green piece of embossed wallpaper and just attached it that way. So yeah, this is, I don't know, I just really had a lot of fun making these and trying different styles out. Here's one where I wrapped the paper all the way around, so it kind of gives some more interest on the bottom. And then I put in some ephemera that hopefully I tried to kind of match as best as I could to the focal point. And then again, this is open back here, so it's a pocket. But yeah, you could just find little bits and bobs and stuff to add to the front or tuck in like right here so it's peeking out, or you can make it like kind of like a secret pocket. Here's like another little piece you could do. Just kind of, I feel like, you know, the more you add, the cooler it looks. And then use like a rusty paper clip or just a regular paper clip and attach it that way. So yeah, there's that one. And I don't know, overall I feel like it's a pretty easy, like once you get going on it, it's, you can start. I made like 10 in an hour probably. Maybe not that many, but like I made a bunch in an hour. So, and like you could start getting creative. You could put multiple pages back here and make like a bigger notebook with like different types of paper, like a scrap booklet. That would be fun. And I don't know, I really like it, but I would love to see if you decide to make this and what your version of it is, because it's just so much fun. And yeah, I'm happy to be back making videos, and hopefully I can post some more soon. And I hope everyone is doing well and having a good 4th, depending on when this video comes out. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. See you soon. Bye.